Hello, how are you this morning, my friend? I am Protulia Xeta-Llouns, and this is Mexican Allies for the second day of the Trezene Muerte, Death, Miquiztli. Today is Ome Mazatl, 2 deer. The deer is this creature that always does this same thing but in a different manner. He always goes to get the water to the river, but he chooses a different path each time. If you every time do the same things on the same manner, you will be caught. Caught by whom? By your predators. Who are your predators? Well, you don't know, but sometimes the most dangerous predators are in here, in your mind, or very near you. No, we're not talking about enemies. We are talking about energies or things or objects or people in your way that may uh, make you stumble or just get you where? Well, in a trap. In the trap of what? The worst of traps. Which one do you think it is? Well, boredom. This is the worst trap of all. We're there, oh, mom, oh, dad, oh, my dear boss, I am so bored. What should I do today? And we are wanting people to entertain us, or I don't know, we just are picking each other's eyes in order to, I don't know, to do something. A friend of mine was telling me today that his best friend, when he was in elementary school, stabbed his hand with a pencil just out of nothing. He wasn't being violent or anything. He was just so super bored, maybe because they were having a piano lesson, and he was like, oh man, what should I do? And he took his pencil, sharpened it, and put it on his hand, and they were both like, what are you doing? And fighting, and the teacher wouldn't even pay attention to them. Why? I guess out of boredom. And you say, but he was his friend, right? Maybe. Or maybe this is why he took him out of the boredom. And well, this is just a silly story, like every story. All the stories are silly if you think about it. And the story I'm gonna tell to you today is one of my favorites. Is the story of the two sponsors of the Trezene, the two gods that take, well, they are guardians of the Trezene, and this is Tonatiuh and Texistecatl, the god of the sun and the god of the moon. These guys were chosen by the bigger gods to become the sun and the moon. The bigger gods needed two men to sacrifice themselves in order to become the sun and the moon. So the fifth sun began. A sun for them, it was an era, a period of time. So the fourth sun was coming to its end, and they needed the fifth sun to be born. And they choose two people. One was Texistecatl. This was a very popular guy because he was the son of a I guess he was the son of Tlaloc, and which is the sponsor of the day deer. It's interesting. And of Xochiquetzal, the goddess of flowers and beauty. He was a prince and well, he was a god also. And they told him, oh, do you want to jump into this pile of fire and become the sun? You will be revered and worshipped forever, at least for one era. One era is a lot. And so he said, oh yeah, of course I want to be the sun. And they chose this other guy who was just a cripple of the city. It was a guy who nobody would care about. He was his legs were twisted, so he couldn't walk, and on top of that, he was ugly, and he was all covered with these tiny things on his skin that were bleeding all the time, and he was malformed, and nobody wanted him, and nobody would talk to him, and he was just there. Poor guy. His name was Nana Watson. And so they asked him, okay, well, you want to jump in the fire? You could be the moon. And he said, yeah, why not? I have nothing to lose. And so they went on the day of the ceremony, and they were there just waiting for this thing to start. And when they were supposed to jump into the fire, guess what happened? Texistecatl, that was the one chosen to be the sun, jumped inside, and it was so hot that he came right out of it, yelling and screaming, no, no, this is too hard. So he didn't do it. And this is where Nana Watson took the opportunity and jumped in. Because, of course, he had nothing to lose. This guy who never got attention or just a kind look from anybody because he was I don't know, he had a different luck from the others. And like he said, he had nothing to lose, jumped into the fire and became the sun and turned into Tonatiuh. And when Texistecatl saw this, it was like, no, wait. On a second thoughts, I do want to jump into the fire. This guy who's nothing and nobody did it, I'm going to do this. I am a god. But it was a little bit too late because the sun had already been produced. It was already in the sky. So the only position that was left was the moon. So Texistecatl turned into the moon. And when he turned into the moon, he was like this. He wasn't moving at all. I don't know why. Maybe it was the shock, or maybe it's because the moon needs the sun to become something. Now he was the one who was almost nothing. How the things changed, right? So the gods, what did they do? They took a rabbit and they threw inside. They threw the rabbit inside his face, inside the moon's face, and this is why there's a rabbit there. Well, there's people who see it and people who don't, but however, because there was a rabbit in the moon started moving also, and both the sun and the moon started moving. Moving is an element of life. We're going through the elements of life because death deals with life. So what's the story today is you have to move in order to live. How? Well, always in a different manner, right? Days are always the same. You start with the sun and end up sometimes with the moon, sometimes not. At least it's not the same moon. It changes its shape. So you have the same days. You have the same opportunities every day, but you need to choose differently because winds change. People change, thoughts change, ideas, activities, and most of all, the way we enjoy ourselves, because this life is to enjoy it. And in the end, where are we all going? To a safe place where there's water. There is nothing besides air that is more important for human beings and all creatures in this planet. That is water. We should take care of it. If you want to know how much you need water, stop using it for 1 week. You will see death very near you, because water is life, and also feelings, and also sharing with the people you love. So share it today with the people you love. They may seem far away right now, but guess what? It's better to realize that they are there for you and miss them a little bit, and not give them for granted, because even we know that the sun is there every day. Sometimes it's cloudy, right? And it's rainy and we miss the sun, but he's there. I mean, it's not going to this other planet, because it's even bigger than the planets. No, he's just hiding behind this cloud or resting a little bit, because even for the sun it gets a little bit hard. Think about it. He has to be there every day. He never quits. If one day the sun would decide not to jump out of bed, we all be lost. We will all be lost, because his job is very important. So he is there every day, sometimes behind the cloud, sometimes very exposed and hot, sometimes in the middle of it, just smiling behind a cloud, and letting us know that we are protected and we are cherished and loved. And with his companion, his best friend, the moon, because the moon is needed also, like we all are. So have a nice day, enjoy yourself, and have a nice thing to eat and share it with the people you love the most. And see you next time.